Hi, I'm Donald McIntyre, founder of Etherplan. I research, write articles, and podcasts about Ethereum Classic, Bitcoin, and decentralized applications. This is part of the series Getting Started with Ethereum Classic, section The Basics. And I'm going to read the article, What is Ethereum Classic in Layman's Terms? This is episode 5 of 50. What is Ethereum Classic in layman's terms? Ethereum Classic, ETC, is a computing system like your personal computer or a remote service such as Google. In either case, you're using the apps, programs, information, data, and computing power, processor, of your local device or a remote service. For example, if you're using the Microsoft Excel app installed on your computer to manage local spreadsheets, you're using a program, Excel, plus data, the spreadsheets, plus processor, computing power, in your device. If you're using Google Sheets to work on sheets in your Google Drive, you're using a program, Google Sheets, plus data, the sheets, plus processor, computing power, in remote machines that belong to Google. The difference is that ETC is not your device nor the machines at Google. Ethereum Classic is a network of thousands of computers around the world that are in permanent connection and work in parallel on the same programs plus data in a monolithic way as if they were a single processor at home or at Google. Because all the machines in the Ethereum Classic network behave as a single computing device, they provide a similar service as your personal computer or a remote computing platform. However, the other difference between ETC and your personal devices or big tech platforms is that it is very expensive and much slower. This is because its design makes a calculated trade-off between performance and security. In other words, ETC is very inefficient but highly secure. In fact, much more secure than your devices or online services. How does it work? To make thousands of computers around the world work on a single coordinated secure system in parallel, Ethereum Classic has 7 components. 1. A ledger with accounts and balances. The base of the system is a database with accounts and balances that tracks the movements of the system's cryptocurrency, hence the name ledger, and contains the software programs that are executed in the virtual machine. This component is the data in the analogy I made above. A cryptocurrency. The cryptocurrency in ETC is the token that is in the system which is moved between accounts within the ledger. Each unit is called Ether, or is also commonly referred to as ETC. For example, 5 Ether or 5 ETC. In the whole existence of ETC, there will be a maximum of 210 million ETC. At the time of this writing, there are a total of 111,636,861 ETC in existence, and this amount will grow gradually to 210 million by the end of the century. 3. Programs. As mentioned in the analogy above, as programs, ETC can store software programs, also known as smart contracts, in its ledger that can be executed for a fee in its virtual machine. These smart contracts can be used to power decentralized applications, or dApps, on top of ETC, move large amounts of value according to certain conditions that users may determine, or for people, businesses, and governments to enter into high-value agreements. 4. Virtual machine. Just as your computer has a processor, or Google has machines that compute everything their users do, all the nodes in the ETC network have a virtual machine, or VM. The VM is a part of the ETC software that is in charge of processing all the programs in the ledger using the local processors and operating systems of all the network nodes. As these computations are coordinated and are executed in parallel across the world, the VM is referred to in the singular, and ETC works as if it were a single computer, even though it is really a decentralized system of thousands of machines around the world. 5. A programming language. Just as the apps in your devices or on remote platforms may be programmed in different programming languages, ETC has its own programming language called Solidity that developers use to build decentralized applications on top of the network. This means the programming language is used to build programs that are stored in the ETC ledger and then executed to power dApps that may be hosted in your computer or remote external platforms. 6. A gas system to pay for computing. The key process to incentivize and coordinate all the node operators to set up their machines to work in tandem for the network is the gas system. The term gas is just an analogy of the energy or computing power used by the machines in the system. All the computations in the system are divided in gas units, and those units have a price in ETC. For example, an instruction to execute a program, also known as transaction, may use 100,000 units of computation or 100,000 gas. And if each unit costs 0.00000011 ETC, then the execution will cost 100,000 times that amount, or 0.00011 ETC. At the current ETC price in dollars of 7.75, that computation will cost $0.0008525. 7. Decentralized applications. Applications really run on top of ETC. This means that although the programs that power them are securely stored in ETC, the dApp interfaces themselves may be on your device or on remote platforms which you may use through your browser. Applications that run on ETC are decentralized applications because the underlying programs that power them on Ethereum Classic are distributed in thousands of computers around the world. That is the basis of the security model, that all the programs plus data plus processors are replicated and located everywhere globally. So they don't have a single point of failure, and no one, no corporation nor government in the world can stop them from operating. Not even a nuclear war can stop ETC, literally. Why is ETC a blockchain? The blockchain is a component of the ETC system. It is the ledger with accounts, balances, and smart contracts that constitutes the data of the system, or more correctly, the database. This database is broken up into blocks, starting from the Genesis block, or block 1, to block 8,332,320, and counting at the time of this writing. The blocks are created every 15 seconds in ETC. This happens when all the users around the world send new transactions, requests to smart contracts, or enter new smart contracts to the system. Then, a special set of nodes in the system called miners, as an analogy to gold mining, get these new entries and pack them into blocks with a highly secure type of computation called proof of work. Then they stamp them and send them to the rest of the nodes called full nodes to verify them and add them at the end of the database. Miners are rewarded for all this work not only with the gas fees mentioned above, but also by issuing new ETC currency, which is currently increased and paid to miners at the rate of 4 ETC per pack, as per the monetary policy. As the packs are called blocks and form a chain, hence the database is called a blockchain, which was combined into the term blockchain. Why is ETC highly secure? As I wrote above, Ethereum Classic deliberately makes a trade-off of being very expensive and highly secure as compared with regular personal devices and remote tech services. This is because it is designed to be like the internet. It should survive even a nuclear war. How does ETC accomplish this? There are several technical components that make ETC secure, including cryptography and the proof of work mining mechanism. However, in layman's terms, the basic security assumptions are replication. The ETC software and blockchain are replicated in thousands of computers around the world. This means that if several or many nodes are knocked down, hacked, or corrupted, there will always be other nodes working correctly. Miners. A subset of the nodes are miners who perform incredible amounts of work computing, expending a lot of electricity to gather new entries and pack them into blocks. This means that whoever wants to attack the database to steal money or reorganize it has to expend a similar amount of energy and work to do it. This is a significant barrier that provides incredible security to the network. Full nodes. When miners do all that work to create new blocks to be included at the top of the blockchain, they still face a hurdle. This is that all the other nodes have to verify whether the block that they created is correctly formed. Full nodes verify whether blocks were formed with all the new transactions correctly entered. This means they have to be valid according to network rules and with the correct balances and instructions. Only then they approve them to go into the chain. This establishes what I call a division of power between miners and full nodes within the live network. Trust minimization. All of the above design choices, plus the technical cryptography and non-cryptographic aspects of ETC, make it a decentralized network. This means there are no banks, tech platforms, cloud services, or governments controlling or managing it. This makes ETC a global, cross-border, permissionless, and censorship-resistant system with no central points of failure and extremely minimized vulnerabilities. In terms of expensiveness, the example that I gave above, where a transaction costs only $0.0008595, makes it seem it is really very cheap. However, that is because for now, ETC has excess capacity. With blocks every 15 seconds and the capacity per block of 118 transactions, the network has the ability to process approximately 680,000 transactions per day, but at the present moment it is processing an average of around 44,000 per day. Regardless of the current use, the above capacity compares very well with high-value systems such as the Federal Reserve's FedWire service that is used for wire transfers, which processes 620,000 wires a day, moving $2.9 trillion. But it does not compare very well with Visa, PayPal, Google, Facebook, other applications, or the cloud services who process tens of billions of transactions per day. This means that when ETC becomes a popular secure system, the demand will likely be much higher than 680,000 transactions per day. Consequently, the market will raise transaction fees to much higher levels, say $25, $50, or even $100 per transaction, so it will be much more suitable for high value, highly secure computing and value transfers. What are the use cases of ETC? If ETC is like a personal device or remote computing platform, but much more expensive and inefficient, but much more secure, what is it good for? Well, if you are sending $10 to a friend or family, ETC will likely not be your best choice. But if you are an individual or business who needs to move 100,000, a million, or more across the world, passing through several jurisdictions, if certain conditions are met, and if in a specific form of payment or recurring payments, then you and your counterpart will likely prefer to use highly secure, trust-minimized systems. It is very likely that consumers, families, businesses, and governments will use Ethereum Classic as a highly secure system to execute programs with specific conditions for high-value transfers and agreements where they don't want to have the obstacles, costs, and risks that traditional systems like banks, legal jurisdictions, and national borders impose. These use cases may be personal or family financial planning, inheritance planning, large commercial conditional payments, agreements between enterprises and governments that require collateral and guarantees, managing large contracts and debt stocks, managing large contracts with options, derivatives and cash flows, and setting large insurance parameters with complex indemnification clauses, amongst many others. Conclusion: Ethereum Classic is like a computer in the sense that it supports software programs that can be used as smart contracts between people and businesses or to power decentralized applications. However, it is a very expensive and inefficient computer. This means that users will naturally gravitate to UCTC for highly secure, high-value transactions, cash flow planning, and agreements. These types of use cases and applications will benefit most if they take advantage of the worldwide reach of ETC so they can trust minimize transfers and agreements across jurisdictional boundaries while minimizing trusted third-party risk. To learn more about Ethereum Classic, if you want to learn more about the positioning of Ethereum Classic within the broader blockchain industry and Bitcoin, how the sector will evolve, and why ETC will likely be an excellent system for securing property and agreements, and even a good long-term investment, I invite you to read other related posts in the section called Getting Started with Ethereum Classic. Thank you very much.